This is KSJE, and Scott Michlin back with you. We are going to be rejoining Arvin Trujillo after our computer crash in just a moment, as soon as we get our streams up to Facebook and Twitter, and then we'll be rejoining Mr. Trujillo, who's been waiting patiently for me to show back up. So stand by, everyone. Couple more clicks and we're back. All right, I think that is going to be what we need to do. And Arvin Trujillo, let's pick this button and see, there he is, waiting patiently. Like I said, welcome back. I guess I should welcome back to you. You've been sitting there this whole time. Thank you for staying there. And you were in the middle of a wonderful answer to one of my rambling questions, and so I appreciate that. And apologies to the viewers and listeners who we were interrupted there. But we were talking about these areas of focus for economic development, and I think my line of questioning was going to be, as we were talking about this, is that these areas seem like they are achievable, obviously with some effort, with some work, but there's already some work being done. You were talking, I think, about, getting governments and grants, opportunities, and things along that line. And I think my next line of questions was going to be, how much can governments do to kind of push some of these things forward? I mean, city governments and county governments aren't necessarily in the widget business, but they can do things that can enhance the widget business. And is that kind of what we're talking about a little bit with getting government involvement here?
Yes, I mean, governments become an integral part of this because they begin to be some of that glue that helps us reach the different constituencies out there. They help us in terms of supporting our efforts so that as we look at opportunities come down, we can work with them. Also, governments have a lot of resources that are available to them, and they also have information and data that could be utilized as we go through our decision-making process. And as we look at bringing new industries in, there's a number of things: permitting, making sure that taxes are in place, the necessary paperwork to bring new industry in. All of that has to be done. And so again, having government be a part of this effort helps not only in gathering the information, but also disseminating that information out to those who would be interested in coming into the county here or into one of the cities.
Right.
And so again, that makes it really important. And as I indicated before, it just helps that all of us are all moving in the same direction.
You bet. And I guess some from the list that I'm looking at, Arvin Trujillo, that really kind of speak to me a little bit about how government can help is retirement, film, of course, and some of the work in agriculture. And the other ones, I think there are others that we could talk about too. But certainly for retirement, I mean, we've got, if you think about the idea of retirement as an economic driver, attracting these retirees who don't need a job, they have income from other sources, whether it's their savings or a pension or Social Security or what have you, but they do look for, quality of life aspects in the communities they choose to live in. And so that brings up the idea of golf courses and aquatic centers and pools and recreation and all those things that we enjoy, all of the rest of us who live here in Farmington who aren't retired.
Yes, you brought up some good points with retirement. Those are areas where government can become involved. Look at film. Right now, everything is centered around Albuquerque and Santa Fe, but there are dollars at the state level that can be brought down to the county level. Having the county kind of be a part of this whole effort so that we can coordinate the different city and, really the different municipal and chamber efforts that are being utilized right now to bring film into the area and to help us coordinate all of that. And then to be that speaking point or that talking or that point of contact for us with the state as we develop those relationships so that money can flow down to our particular program here once we get film.
Right, and I think, just to interrupt you just for just a moment, Arvin Trujillo, but we're seeing a lot of local investment due to some state monies that came to San Juan County with the backlot development here in this part of the state for film projects, whether it's TV or film or streaming or whatever the case may be. The Tota Theater certainly undergoing some renovations to be a hub, if you will, of film activity and a home base maybe for folks who are working in the area to work on film projects. I mean, this is what we're talking about, right?
That's exactly what we're talking about. So having the city and the county involved in that effort, again, shows that they have funding that would be available to help do the necessary renovations on different facilities we have in the region here. Another one is looking at how they help the food hub. We started a new food hub downtown. And so again, there are real advantages on having government entities involved in our efforts, because they also are very interested in seeing the diversity, the development of an economic diversified community here in the region.
Right. Exactly. And again, I would say from your work in economic development, what does that message say to these entrepreneurs, these business folks, these film folks who are looking at locations when they look at a community and see the investment of the local governments and the support of the local community and things along that line? I mean, does that sometimes help one area win out over another if folks are looking at shooting a film in a certain area or a project in a certain area? Let's go here instead of there because they've got the support of a lot of different organizations.
Yes, it does really make a difference having that kind of coordination, so that when these film crews do come in, many times they are on tight schedules to meet, and when they need certain support, they're looking for that support in a very timely manner. And so having us coordinate that effort really allows us to really market our efforts and bring people in, and also helps us in really developing a process by which we can get information out so people can see the kind of locations that we have here in the county. And so those are some of the things, again, that the government, as well as having all these entities work together, really brings to the forefront on recruiting film industries to come here to San Juan County.
Right. And you mentioned agriculture, of course, with the food hub that has had their little market, had their soft opening downtown Farmington. We'll do more. We're going to talk more about that on Monday when Aaron Havens is my guest here on this program. So we're excited about that. Let me ask you a bit too. Healthcare is another one of these targeted industries, and of course, the hospital plays a big role in that. But there are also ancillary other services. But I think the hospital has kind of recognized that it can be an economic leader in providing specialized health care in our area that keeps folks in the area or attracts folks to the area than driving or traveling to other parts of the region for specialized health care. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, we're looking at that, and as you talked about retirement before, as we look at being a retirement community and bringing retirees to the area, that's one of the areas that they're very interested in. What kind of support can they get in the healthcare industry? And so again, we're working on better understanding that, looking at the healthcare services that are provided. How can we help assist and help make that better? How do we help train people? We have a tremendous nursing program here at San Juan College, but there are other programs within the health industry that I think we need to take a look at, and going through these focus groups have really helped us begin to understand what opportunities there are there in the healthcare industry. And so again, all of this begins to, as you can see, the 6 areas I talked about, there's a lot of overlap between those 6 areas. And so again, that's kind of what we're looking at, and we're beginning to recognize.
Right. And of course, I have to point out the large construction project on the west side of Farmington, which is going to be a assisted living facility, right, for seniors. And that's I don't know the dollar amount on that project, but it's got to be multi-million for sure. It's a large-scale project there with the Old Home of American Furniture.
Yeah, we're looking at that. We're looking at also on the west side of the county, we're working hard to see if we can get solar facilities in place and start construction later this summer.
Right.
There's a lot of work happening there. So again, there are opportunities that are coming forward as we begin to look at how we begin to prepare ourselves. And so having these discussions has really opened our eyes as to how we might be able to be more effective, not only in supporting, but also in the recruitment within these industries.
Right. And Arvin Trujillo, we just have a couple of minutes remaining. I'm hoping you can stay with me here for another maybe 5 minutes since we had a little interruption there. I know you have a meeting after our interview this morning. But I want to ask you, too, about construction and manufacturing. Those are two areas, manufacturing specifically, where we don't have a necessarily big history in the manufacturing area. And I assume maybe part of that could be transportation. Kind of hard to build things here and then ship them out because of lack of rail and other things that other communities might have access to, but that could be changing as well, right? Or with technology, we're able to do things a little differently.
Yeah, we're looking at how do we possibly retool, because right now a lot of our manufacturing is focused on supporting not only the oil and gas industry but also the power plant industry here in the region. That's changing, and so how do we begin to look at new opportunities to help those small manufacturing companies retool? We're looking at new opportunities, possibly in the hydrogen and helium areas. There's discussions looking at exploring those capabilities in terms of energy development, and then how could these small industries assist in that. In the healthcare area, we've seen the results of the pandemic. Are there opportunities there? Looking at needed supplies of equipment in the healthcare region that we may be able to take advantage of. We're also looking at the agricultural area. There are some opportunities that may be arising. Looking at value-added products and how do we bring more farms into production, but then how do we look at the actual processing of that food, and are there opportunities there for some of our small companies to retool to help support the agricultural industry? So again, we're beginning to see some of these opportunities, and we're learning how could we take advantage of those and do it in a manner that doesn't overwhelm us, yet we're able to do so and look at, like I said, being able to recruit new opportunities here into the region so that we can take advantage of that, thereby bringing more economic-based jobs to the region. And of course, once we begin to do that, that will help build our service area, that will help build our retail area, and other things will result that are beneficial to not only Farmington, but really the general San Juan County area and the Four Corners region.
Very true. Well, and we've been here before, but I know for some people it's a bit disconcerting because it's new and it's different, and it's not as familiar as maybe what we have been certainly tied to and enjoyed the profits from in the past, and that meaning the energy industry, which has certainly done a lot for this community. But things are changing, and it's important to be looking at these other areas, and that's what ForSet is doing with your partners. So I appreciate the conversation this morning, Arvin Trujillo.
Well, thank you for that. And again, I would just ask your listeners if there are those who are interested in being a part of these teams and being a part of these discussions, please, you can call at 505-566-3702. That's the Four Corners Economic Development office here at San Juan College, or you can go to our website at www.4cornersed.com. There's contact information there, and there's our newsletter that pops up. You can join our newsletter and see exactly what we're doing every couple weeks. We try to get a newsletter out.
Right.
So again, there's information and contact there. But if you're interested or just want to explore what our teams are doing and seeing if there is an interest, please give us contact. We can use all the help we can get.
Well, I think your teams are heading in the right direction. It's very exciting conversations to talk about and learning more about the future of San Juan County and all the efforts that you and your teams are doing. So look forward to our conversation every month. Thank you, Arvin Trujillo.
Thank you, Scott, and good being with you, and you have a good day.
All right, you too. Thank you very much. That is Arvin Trujillo from Four Corners Economic Development, my guest here on KSJE. I'll be back with more coming up, of course. The time is 8:46.
This is the Engines of Our Ingenuity, made possible in part by ENGIE, sustainable energy and tools for efficiency and carbon reduction.